Hello and welcome to Friday afternoon here on twitch.tv/DDOstream and youtube.com/Dungeons & Dragons/live. I'm DDO's community manager, Cordovan. Thank you very much for joining me. Hope you're having a good weekend. Hope you got DDO plans on your schedule. If you do, hope the loot gods smile upon you. We have a 20% guild renown bonus along with double daily dice XP. So whenever you roll daily dice, you'll be getting twice as much XP from it that you normally would. And that's going through the weekend. We have got our public preview that happened this week. That was on Wednesday. You can take a look at that on Twitch here or on YouTube. We had our Update 32 Against the Slave Lords preview. Next week is Against the Slave Lords. Set to release on Tuesday. Oh, that money, I guess I got some work to do. Yeah, so anyway, we got that going on. We're working on a new producer's letter, which will probably be a little bit after Update 32 is released. Within a couple of weeks. And that's that. So we got a nice, busy weekend, busy show. I am live on Thelanis. I want XP. I want all the XP, if you guys are willing to join me. Otherwise, I'm going to run something solo. I need to get to, well, I wanted to get to level 30 by Tuesday. I just hit level 28. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to level up here before I get going. So level 28 to 30 is still a couple million XPs. So much of the XPs. So anyway, probably not going to hit level 30 by Tuesday. But I'm going to try to get close. I've been pulling in just an incredible amount of stuff. So I could get an intelligence version of Hellball. That's interesting. Forced Escape. Radiate Destruction. That's sonic damage around. Dispels crowd control effects. Nah. Guardian Angel. Get a bunch of PR based on wisdom on that. Probably not for this character build. Lasting Inspiration has to do with bard songs. I ain't a bard. Marshall, I could do melee unarmed attacks deal an extra 50 to 300 Bane damage against enemies with 90% or more hit points. That's not terrible. No more than once every 3 seconds. I'm not a super feat DC person, so that's not going to matter. I could take Mass Frog, because that's fun. Perfect two-handed fighting might be another possibility, because I am a quarterstaff wielder. So I'm tempted to say that may be what I'm going for. I would say it's either going to be that or Hellball. Hellball might be interesting. I wonder how that works. Any of you guys use Hellball pretty well? Actually, you know what? I could also do Epic Spell Power Light. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that, actually. Because I am light spec'd, and I get so much light damage on my Divine Punishment and such. I'm just kind of going up through Draconic Incarnation because I'm, well, actually, guess what? I guess I'm ready to switch over. Start earning in Magister, and I'm finally done. You can see I've Epic Reincarnated twice. I'm ready to Epic Reincarnate a third time in the Primal Sphere. But I'm going to wait till after. So yeah, let me do that, actually. Guess I'm going to be a Magister. That was the last one for me. Mass Frog, toughness! Take Mass Frog! Yep. Were renowned elixirs from daily dice definitely removed? I haven't gotten one in more than a year. I believe so. Not because of any particular malicious reason why, just that we added in the PRR, MRR, and other potions, exceptional skill potions and stuff, and we had to make room. So I believe Renown Elixirs dropped from that table, because we're going to be mixing things in and out like we do. So it's pretty likely that we'll be seeing Guild Renown Elixirs again in the future. Certainly if you guys want us to, we could probably do that. If enough of you feel strong, I don't see why we couldn't. So sending me a tell. Let me send out one last call. Otherwise I will simply solo something, because that'll be fun. You guys will love that. So I will die. Not necessarily. I'm just kind of hanging out, and if I'm going to be running anything, it's going to be getting some XP for it. I have to say, though, so when I did my Draconic Incarnation tree just here, the thing that I personally got the most use out of was this Daunting Roar. I mean, the extra intelligence helped, you know, with my to hit and damage and all that, because I'm a Harper. But the Daunting Roar is basically an AoE freeze effect. It's a fear effect, but they freeze in place. Anything other than red named pretty much rarely saves against it. And so it was a great way if I was being surrounded, or if mobs were coming in, or if we needed to freeze a group of enemies in the group I was in, just bam, hit the Daunting Roar, they'd freeze. And then, when you hit them, you do a lot more to hit and that sort of thing. So it's a lot easier to take them down that way. And I found it just absolutely invaluable on this particular character. I got some use out of Draconic Fury as well, because it does give you an extra 50 spell power, so I hit that before I was going on, say, a Divine Punishment thing for, say, end bosses or any of that kind of thing. But, yeah, that one in particular for this character was really, really good. At least it felt like that for me. Let me take a look at actually my gear here. I'm actually getting ready to switch up because I did just get level 28, but here's what I've got right now. So, because I am a Favored Soul Rogue, my DCs aren't great. I was hoping that I could get them high enough for Destruction to proc pretty regularly, but unfortunately what I've found is that my Wisdom just isn't high enough. Not only am I losing 3 caster levels from the 3 splash of Rogue, but because I have to split my points between, say, Constitution, Intelligence, and Charisma, it just has kind of suffered. Now, 32 isn't awful, but it's not great. And particularly as I'm reaching the end game here, I'm just not landing those destructions like I was, say, in Heroic, of course. So that's why in the goggle slot here, I've currently got a plus 10 on the Wisdom just to try to help. It's also a good place for my Deadly, which at the moment is just plus 8 because, like I say, I've been kind of running. And I haven't swapped out my gear really since level 25, 26. So there's that. But then I also have this really insightful Intelligence 4. I'm still just using the Minos right now in my head slot. That's going to change soon, particularly if I give Epic Minos. But it's just my fortification at the moment until I get to level 28, 30. I've got something here that'll be better. I'm using Jorgundal's Collar, the elite version for the melee alacrity and striding. Now that is a fairly heavy swap slot. We'll also sometimes use the Silver Flame Talisman, depending on if I'm taking negative levels. And there's a couple other things I guess I've got in my inventory for that as well. I'm using the Shamanic Fetish. Mostly I swap between that and, the Voice of the Master, and I've got one other thing too. Mostly just for the Devotion and Radiance at the moment. I'm using an Epic Elite version of the Jeweled Cloak, just because that's awesome. I actually need to pull out the yellow slot because I've got an Insightful 4 elsewhere, and then replace that with a better yellow slot. I've got to place a green slot in there too, because I just got this a couple days ago. I'm just doing a False Life 31 on a belt right now just to try to up my hit points a bit because I clearly don't have enough hit points. My healing lore is up, Radiance again for light spell power, particularly when I don't have the other things swapped in. Epic Fanged Gloves for the Intelligence bonus, the Blur, and the Magical Efficiency. It's not upgraded yet. Feather Falling Boots, they're again fairly frequent hot swap. I'll sometimes go into the Dodge bonus 10, Sheltering 26 is what I've been doing. And I think I've got one more that I'll swap into on that slot as well. Hardy 10, Constitution Ren 10. That's really what I've got. That is the Con 10 at the moment. And that's actually ready to go up now that I'm 28. I've got the Sage's Cuffs for kinetic lore. In particular, untyped spells, force physical, like the Blade Barriers, will have an extra 20% equipment bonus to their chance to critical hit. Having Blade Barrier critical hit more is clearly a good thing. Plus, the spell penetration doesn't hurt either. And on the armor, I'm just wearing junk. At the moment, I've just got something to give myself a little bit better AC while I'm waiting for, I guess, 28 here to swap into my regular armor. So that's what my gear is currently looking at on this character here. A couple other pieces. This is actually stuff I just got last night I need to sell. Like I say, I've got a bunch of stuff. Actually, here we go. Looks like that Minos is going for the Intelligence 12 and Spell Focus Mastery 4. And I'm going to be swapping here in just a second, although I'll need to get some other fortification before I do that. I've got just some underwater action. Quick hot swap, Bracers of Twisting Shade for when I need the extra search or disable device, which, frankly, I don't have to do that much. I do have a quick open lock swapper as well. I've got, I don't think I have it with me here, but I've got a Thunderforged quarterstaff that I'm working on, but it's not really ready to go quite yet. And then I'm actually going to be wearing this for my, actually, you know what? We'll do that right now. Now I'm 28, I'm going to swap into that for my Feather Falling, get my speed taken care of, and a plus 5% insight. Dodge bonus doesn't hurt, so. Got these, can't use in public areas. Then I've just got a couple of old clickies and things like that. So that's the current state of my character heading into level 28. Like I said, I just took 28, so I haven't updated my gear and stuff yet. Guess I could show you real quick, as long as I'm boring you to death with my characters. Currently sitting at 3205 favor. And I could clearly work on that as well. But, yeah, good enough. So. I do run Spy and WK, Wizard King, every day. They will pay out 250k XP every day. You know what? That's actually a good point. Hey, why don't we... I know I'm already in Evening Star on that, but if you're level 21 and I'm just not getting much interest from the live stream, I don't think I want to run What Goes Up. So why don't we do something like Spies in the House or Wiz King? Do you have any preference on either of those? Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do Spies. Got the Royal Guard mask. Invaluable tool to get around between Forgotten... back to Everon from the Forgotten Realms. Alright, let me go back and chat here. I think I saw a couple of questions here that I can address. Thimble asks, why not offer a few promotional DDO items on the DDO market, like t-shirts and miniatures based off the game? The reason for that is because we do not have a merchandising license for the Dungeons & Dragons intellectual property. That is a separate license that's handled by Wizards of the Coast. Yeah, I know what you mean. So we would have to get a merchandising license in order to do that. Now, my understanding is Wizards of the Coast already has merchandising rights that have been awarded clearly to other people, so there's some kind of licensing concerns that have so far prevented us from putting, say, a public purchase style swag department for DDO. The swag that we do have has been created specifically for conventions or community use. They are no-cost items to the public, and as such they fall under promotional items for our game specifically. And clearly we need to not, be DDO focused rather than D&D focused on that stuff, but we are anyway, because this is DDO promotional material, right? So that is why we have things like DDO hoodies and t-shirts and dice bags and stuff that we've been able to give away in the past, but we can't do a public store because we don't have the ability to offer that kind of sale to the general public. Now, there are some things we've looked at over the years as to how we might be able to, work with Wizards of the Coast to make something happen there. And it's not like there have been a few times in the past where it's been like, well, maybe. But then it's just never quite worked out. So it's not like anyone's maliciously trying to prevent anyone from doing anything. It's just sort of the way the system works. And as such, it's, sort of the situation that we're in. So that's the rundown on that. All right. Do we ever think we would do guild bounties again? The guild bounty system was something we did a couple of Junes ago. That was a special guild renown event. It had some technical issues that at the time made it somewhat unfavorable or unliked by some segment of the community. And as such, it was a bit of a hassle and kind of had its downsides. Over time, it seems like the takeaway has been largely positive with the I can't remember what we called it, guild bonus days or whatever that was. So maybe we could bring it back, but we would have to do some work on it, I think, before we do that. And let's just do normal, and then if we have time, we'll do hard. Any discussion on the possibility of adding legendary altars for a new guild airship amenity? That would be a great guild airship amenity. I would say, were we to focus on airship amenities here in the future, that would likely be something we would be looking at, because awesome. But I'm not aware of any short-term plans to add new guild airship amenities. We've thought about it. Another possibility was to do the Kobold, the Test Kobold, the DPS Test Kobold from Amania, was something that had been considered as a possibility as well. So, oh, that's mine. Here's mine. Okay. So maybe. That would likely be the kind of thing we do. I just don't know when we have any plans to do that. Nobob was wearing an Abstract Kobold t-shirt I saw once. I have no idea what you're talking about. I assure you that nobody handmade their own DDO t-shirts. Yeah, there's another one in the corner. I'll get that. I'll get that in just a second. I'm just hitting the lever first here. Actually, I'm not. Let me get that. Did you already get it? Trust me, we want you guys to be wearing DDO t-shirts as much as you want to maybe be wearing a DDO t-shirt. But it just, you know, we make them for conventions and all that sort of thing. And we do have some, so if you're ever able to hook up with me, like at the Boston Festival of Indie Games, Gen Con, PAX, you know, hey, I will bend over backwards to get you swag, because, man, I know. I want it all, too. So let me know. I am the gatekeeper of DDO swag. Sort of.
You hear churning water rumbling somewhere below you.
The F keys on this keyboard are really tiny. Sort of weird. This mouse isn't the greatest. I have to be kind of careful when I move. I don't fall over. Meh. Ah! Gosh darn it. Arrgh. Getting swag is a quest. Yeah, a little bit. Think of it like a quest, right? Like I say, there have been times over the years where, Jesus, man, so I really need to get a better mouse for this stream room here. This mouse is like kind of a cheapy Microsoft thing, and it just is trying to like drag your mouse through molasses. It just is not working well. I mean, I suck too, but on top of that, the mouse is not working well. Yeah.
You hear someone timidly asking for help.
Yeah, go for it. Alright. I don't hate jumping quests. Like when I'm at home, I've got a pretty, a mouse and gaming setup that I've been using for years, right? So I'm pretty comfortable with it. But you get me on, say, like a wireless, keyboard with little F keys and kind of a rinky wireless mouse without a mouse pad. And I need to fix that. I'm in the process of doing so. I just haven't done it yet. And you just kind of run into these issues. If you've only done Spies in the House 2 or 3 times ever, then you should consider knowing this quest. Because Spies in the House is one heck of a quest for XP. Always has been, always will be. So you should consider learning it. Now, it does, as you can see here, traps on that are pretty useful to be able to do. There are people who really can just zerg through this sucker like you wouldn't believe. And they're probably looking at this video and going, holy slow, I seem to recall being in a run with Patrick that took all of, say, maybe 4.5 minutes to get through to the end of the quest. He's probably sitting there going, oh my gosh, how can you be so slow? But, But this is a good quest to know because lots of XP. And especially if you are in a group and you can kind of break up the who does what thing, you can move through this thing a lot more quickly. Yeah, that'll do it. Nicely done. I don't suppose you have implosion. Yeah, it might be pretty useful in these next couple of parts. Forehead is like, we all have bad days. You just have more than others. Every day's a bad day when I play DDO. No, it's every day's a great day when I play DDO. But you see, I've had this rant before, so I guess I'm not going to waste everyone's time. Again. I don't care if I die. That's the big secret. It's a Zen thing. Once you stop caring, the whole world opens up to you.
clattering, obedient bones.
So, you know, as you've been seeing, the destruction just isn't great on this character. I was hoping I could get it in a better position, and I still can because I've got some stuff I can do to up my DC. Give myself a wisdom item that's higher than even 10. I can do some things to... See, I can't fit in height as a feat. That's a definite no. So, I don't know. I may end up kind of just saying, you know what, this character is not a insta-killer. You know, instead what I'm able to do is fight undead pretty well. My light spell power is not terrible, and now that I'm getting towards the end, I've got some much nice, fatter kind of things that I can start wearing to up that quite a bit. Plus I can take the 29 feet for light power and all that too, and I can up my light power here pretty good. But even on normal here, I'm just not landing my destructions, and so that's just not where it needs to be. But you can't do everything. I mean, that's the thing about DDOs. Everything is kind of a compromise, right? And I'm frankly pretty good at traps. You know, even without wearing boost items, I'm doing just fine. Of course, inevitably I don't want boost items, right? But... you know, I could do some pretty good group healing, self-healing.
You hear a metal portcullis slide open in the distance.
So, I like this character a lot, even if it's not, say, Uber build. I do have a couple past lives on it. This is, what, 3 past lives? And a couple epic reincarnations. I think I'm going to not true reincarnate for a little while on this character, though. I kind of like where I'm at with this build and everything. So instead I'm just going to focus on upping my gear, I think, and do that instead for the next foreseeable future. My main throwing item is the coffin nail. It's just kind of, you know, I don't do a lot of ranged combat on this character. When I do, coffin nail fits perfectly. So I tend to use that one quite a bit. If I can get all my DCs around 60 outside of LE raids, I can usually find a spell that works. Yeah. Any word on reducing the cost of a last name change in the future? I haven't heard anyone express an interest in doing that. But we also don't get that feedback a lot, so perhaps it's something we could look into in the future. Earth and Mantle Cloak out of Search and Rescue would be a nice item for my favorite soul. Yeah, that would be. Yep. As it is, though, you kind of... Epic Elite Jeweled Cloak is a pretty good default. Because it absorbs all those spells and everything. It ain't bad. So, and like I said, I don't even have it slotted out yet, so... Because I just picked it up a couple days ago.
You hear a woman's voice asking for help up above.
Kaylan deftly climbs her way out of the sewer, pausing once to look back and wave her thanks.
This is historically one of the trouble spots in Spies in the House for jump characters who aren't so great at jump, like myself. So, what you need to do is you need to take this jet, let's see if I can show you, up through this hole here, And there's some bars on the other side. Yeah, see how Thimble just did that? So the way I have found it often works best for me is I sort of get my back to the camera, to the thing here, and then I'll just jump back. They'll push forward, and that'll get you, oops, except not too far. You'll see how you can kind of grab onto the pole. Except I failed. Easier said than done. But the main thing is you need to get over here. And that's, you know, sometimes a little easier said than done too. Alright. Take care of the elementals. Again, having favored... So the other reason I went favored souls is for me personally, because of the way I am on some of this stuff. Having favored soul wings is extremely useful for me. For me, the benefits of favored soul wings are extremely high. You can see I have a moderate reflex save as well, which comes in handy for this quest.
Hear a fresh gust of air escaping the pipe.
But especially if you're running this on higher difficulties like Epic Elite, those electric traps and spike traps very well might take you out. They are nothing to fool with. So, and again, I do the same thing on this. I back into it, and I find that that's a fairly effective way to do it. So. Let's see, we got everything we need to get here, so now we go up the stairs. And we're pretty close to being done. There we go. Now at this point, you can, if you want to... Yeah, let's go for it. You just need to go up the stairs here and you're done, right? Basically. But if you come along to this side, you can see a few trap boxes, help get your debilitation bonus up. There's a few things to break. There is a shrine with a little fight if you need to. But if you're really zerging this, you probably don't need to even worry about that. You can just sort of just run right up the stairs in that. I personally, though, I want to see if getting that trap up to my ingenious debilitation bonus to 30% XP. And so there you go. I don't actually really need the spell points because it's fairly easy from here on out. Just a couple of fights to worry about, nothing too major. Again, on Epic Elite, these water elementals are going to be much more of an issue for you. But, you know, hey, we're not running it on Epic Elite, so I don't have to worry about that. So, Thimble is mentioning something in chat that's worth bringing up. Which is, yeah, I don't think we'd be doing this on Epic Elite very well. Anyway, you bring something up, Thimble, that's worth explaining, I think, to the chat room about ranging those last two barrels to get the bonus. Do you want to elaborate on that just a little bit? But there's a trigger point that'll complete the quest, and there's some breakables back there that if you can range them before you hit that trigger, you will up your XP that you'll get. Because you'll go to the next tier breakable bonus, provided you've been breaking things, of course, on your way up, which you should. So. But so you can really just, if you want to just go for the completion like you're farming it or whatever, this whole last section we can just kind of ignore. You could just go pop, 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 just run all the way up, take that thing, just run to... So I want to do it because like I said, we want to break those last boxes. Just run to the end there. And do it that way. But if you break the boxes first... Let's see if we can get a third bonus. Jump to the rock outcropping, huh? Oh, you mean back this way? That's interesting. I don't actually know how to do that. I've never done it. I've never actually done that. You want to show me how you do that? Or you just did it? Okay. Oh, that rock outcropping. Oh, okay. Cool. And you see we triggered the volume. There we go. 87,164, not even including the optional bonus that we can get. And that was on Epic, normal, even slow completion time on my end, 26 minutes. Like I said, you could do that in 10 or less if you're trying to min-max. Yeah, that was great. That was perfect. We did leave one of the prisoners behind, unfortunately. Alright, I think that's probably actually going to wrap it up for the show. I've got a little less than 10 minutes, so I'll just kind of hang out, answer a few questions, and all that sort of thing. Thanks for joining me today. Good feedback, Javur, Wizenman, and all that about changing some last names if you had the available. That's great. Yeah, I really like Spies in the House. It's a fun one. It's really... some people denigrate it and say it's very Mario Brothers-y, and I think that that is true, but I think it's good to have that level of variety in DDO. I like it that there are quests like this, and I think a lot of DDO players would agree with me on that, so... Maybe it's not for everybody, but if you want to level up, I mean, do whatever you want, right? I would run Spies in the House, Vaughn 1 through 5, a few others. So you should include Spies in the House in your rotation. Alright, thank you very much, Cleavebeard, Slithy, Jub, The Cane Corin, Wizenman, Thimble, for joining me, Javor, Civic Spoon. Oh, by the way, Civic Spoon, during our Update 32 preview, you had said something in chat that we weren't answering a question that you had asked. I went back up through the chat and I couldn't find the question that you wanted me to answer for our Update 32 live stream preview that we did this past Wednesday. So if you pop that into the chat room here, I'll see if I can answer that now. I tried to go back and scroll back to see what the question was, but I just lost it in the mix of trying to go live with that sort of thing. So hopefully you can type that in if you remember it. If not, that's okay. Sorry for not getting your question. Yeah, the very first one, right? I guess I'll be wearing that shortly. No, so here's the Jenga that goes on, right? So I could swap. I mean, my armor class doesn't matter that much to me because my armor class, you know, I'm evasion, so I'm light armor only. I've only got an armor class of 48, so it's kind of crap. So I need to perhaps get something else, and until I get a better set of armor, I could just pop on this Radiance for 141 light spell power. And then get the Insightful Combat Mastery +5 that I was getting on those new boots. Actually, that's dodge bonus. Oh yeah, never mind. So I don't actually use most of that stuff. So, because I don't, the only thing I really use DCs for is sweeping strikes. But my understanding is that's a trip attack rather than, say, you know, a feat, right? So it isn't affected by, say, the Insightful Combat Mastery. And if I'm wrong, that'd be great. But it should just be a balanced DC of 10 plus the rogue level, which again for me is 3, so fairly low, a dexterity modifier, which is okay, but not great. So I'm not really doing sweeping strikes a whole lot to trip, although I do. It happens more often than you think. But it's mostly for the extra 5 weapon damage to all nearby enemies. Predominantly what that's about. Plus, I just wanted, for flavor reasons, I wanted to be a quarterstaff user. I felt good with that too. All right, thank you very much for watching me here on Friday afternoon. Hope you have a good day. I will be live streaming actually over on the Lord of the Rings side around 3 o'clock today. They're doing this sort of hard kicker games, so if you want to see something funny, you can check that out. Otherwise, we do have our schedule. Fridays on Ice are at 10 o'clock tonight. We have got shows throughout the weekend. And I'll be back next Wednesday. So Tuesday is our update 32, Against the Slave Lords. And you can find out more information about that on ddo.com/u32. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll see you again soon.